a fella brought in his Pete. It had an 871, and we ended up doing an in-frame overhaul, put a cylinder head on it, a turbo 6PX injector. The cams were good. We put rebuild kits in the Jake levers, and we changed both Jake shafts because the holes were worn where the Jake control valve seats to hold the lever straight so it doesn't tick. So we did a lot of work to this engine, water pump, rebuilt the oil cooler, rebuilt the IFSM, a lot of work. And we get done, and it's cold outside, but we run the engine through a regen. It sounds good, but we've got smoke. And if you'll see the video that I'm going to play in a minute here, is the engine running outside after the regen, and it's hot, hot, hot. I know it's cold outside. It was about probably 28 degrees, but the engine was up to temp, the afterstream was up to temp. I want you to take a look at the stack, and the video is going to start. We're walking around the engine, taking a look at things, trying to figure out what's going on, and then you'll see from there. And then I'm going to show you what was wrong. So you can see in those videos that we ended up having the last three Jake levers banging on the valves and opening the valves, and that's why we had that smoke, because we weren't getting complete ignition out of those last three cylinders. So we pulled the cover, and you saw that one solenoid had oil streaming out of it and the other one didn't. Well, oil shouldn't be running out of the solenoid when the Jakes aren't operating. So when the solenoid's turned on electrically, or you push the manual tab in the center of it down, a little bit of oil will come out, and then it seals, and all the oil in the shaft, there's a rifle just for that Jake oil. That oil will go through the solenoid and right into the Jake levers. And then when you let off, you'll get a shot of oil out of the bottom of that solenoid, and that's the oil in the levers venting, and then the rest comes out of the control valves around the caps. and the levers lock back and they're still. The reason those levers were vibrating is they were getting oil pressure, not enough to fully actuate them, but enough to make the control valves lift and start to fill, and the jakes started to barely open the valves, causing the smoke. Now we purchased 2 new solenoids and put them in. We tried 2 different stands because we bought 2 brand new shafts from Cummins. Finally, we ended up taking the rocker arm assemblies off and taking the old shaft and the new shaft and looking at the ends. And the new shaft, the hole for the jake oil was drilled in a different spot, lower than the old one was. So we took pressurized air and pressurized the oiling hole. And here the oil, when they drilled the shaft, they drilled the hole at an angle, and the oiling in the shaft that oiled the rocker arm bushings was going through where the drillings intersected, getting into the jake lever oil. So that's why the jake levers would never quit actuating. So we had to order another new shaft from Cummins. We looked at the end of it, and it looked just like the old one as far as where the hole was drilled. And then we put it back together, and you can see the exhaust stack in this last section, last short piece of video of how it ran once we fixed that problem. And it's a real butt kicker when you buy a brand new part and it's no good out of the box, especially a shaft when you can't see the problem because it's an internal drilling problem. All right, here we go. There you go. She's running clear as a bell. Problem solved. Thanks for joining me on Engine Shop Joe. Always expect the unexpected.